If your stomach tightens when her phone lights up, if your chest sinks when her tone changes, listen closely, because the question you keep asking is the wrong one. Right now, before your mind races, hear me. I'm a psychologist, and I need you to stop asking whether she cheated, because that question is keeping you blind to the truth that actually matters. In the next few minutes, I'm going to speak to you the way no one ever has, not to scare you, but to wake you up. If this kind of clarity matters to you, do me a favor now. Like this video and subscribe, because what we're about to unpack isn't comfortable, but it is life-changing. Most men torture themselves with one question. Did she cheat or didn't she? But psychologically, that question is a trap. It puts your power in her hands, in her behavior, in something you may never get proof of. And while you're hunting for evidence, something far more important is happening right in front of you, unnoticed. Infidelity is an event. What destroys men is the pattern that comes before it. I don't want you obsessed with a single act. I want you aware of a shift. When a woman emotionally detaches, the relationship has already changed at a structural level. She stops investing, not loudly, but subtly. Her energy becomes selective. Her warmth becomes conditional. She no longer moves toward you for safety or connection. Instead, she moves around you. That's not cheating yet, but psychologically, it's the precursor. And here's the uncomfortable truth. By the time a woman cheats, she has usually already left emotionally. The betrayal didn't start with another man. It started with disengagement. Men are taught to look for proof, messages, lies, timelines. But psychology teaches us to look for orientation. Is she oriented toward you or away from you? Does she repair conflict or let distance grow? Does she soften when you're vulnerable, or does she become cold and efficient? These are not small things. These are signals of where her emotional loyalty lives. If you only ask whether she cheated, you remain reactive, anxious, and dependent on her answers. But when you notice what I'm about to show you, you regain agency. You stop begging for reassurance. You stop chasing ghosts. You start seeing reality clearly, calmly, and without fear. And that, more than anything, is what changes the outcome of your life. Let me tell you what matters more than whether she cheated. Watch where her effort goes when nothing is required of her. Psychology is simple here. Effort reveals attachment. When a woman is emotionally bonded, her effort flows naturally, even when she's tired, stressed, or busy. When that bond weakens, effort becomes strategic. It shows up only when it benefits her or avoids conflict. This is where men get confused, because she still does some things, just not the ones that build closeness. You'll notice she responds, but doesn't reach. She talks, but doesn't open. She's present, but not engaged. That's not moodiness. That's emotional withdrawal. And here's the part most men miss. Emotional withdrawal often happens long before physical betrayal. In her mind, she's already adjusting to a version of life where you are not central. She may say she's overwhelmed. She may say she needs space. She may say nothing at all. But her behavior tells the story. She stops asking about your inner world. Your stress no longer moves her. Your excitement doesn't light her up. When you share something meaningful, she listens politely, not curiously. That's not random. That's psychological distancing. Men often respond by trying harder, explaining more, giving more. But increased pursuit rarely restores lost orientation. In fact, it often accelerates detachment because it confirms an imbalance. She feels centered, you feel destabilized. That dynamic quietly rewires respect. I want you to understand something crucial. Cheating is not the first boundary crossed. The first boundary crossed is emotional exclusivity. When she no longer brings her fears, dreams, or doubts to you first, the bond is already compromised. Another man doesn't create that gap, he steps into it. This isn't about blaming her or shaming you. It's about seeing the moment where you still have choices. When you notice reduced effort, emotional absence, and a lack of repair after conflict, that's your signal. Not to accuse, not to panic, but to pause, observe, and reclaim your self-respect. Men who ignore these signs stay stuck asking questions they can't control. Men who see them early stop negotiating for scraps of attention. They start leading their lives again. And paradoxically, that clarity often changes how she responds to you, because grounded men are harder to detach from than anxious ones. Another thing you must notice is how she handles accountability. This is one of the sharpest psychological indicators of where her loyalty lies. When a woman is emotionally invested, she wants to protect the connection. That means when you express hurt, confusion, or concern, she may not always agree, but she engages, she explains, she reassures, she tries to repair. When investment fades, accountability becomes irritation. Pay attention to her tone when you bring something up. Does she get curious or defensive? Does she try to understand your experience or does she minimize it? Phrases like, "You're overthinking," "You're insecure," or "You're making a big deal out of nothing" are not just words. They are psychological distancing tools. They shift the focus from the relationship to your supposed flaw. This is important because men are often socialized to doubt their intuition. When she frames your concern as a personal weakness, you start questioning your perception instead of evaluating her behavior. That's how men stay stuck, endlessly analyzing themselves while the relationship quietly erodes. Notice also whether she takes responsibility for missteps. When emotional loyalty is intact, even small mistakes matter to her because the bond matters. When it's gone, she becomes transactional. She'll justify, rationalize, or change the subject. Not because she's evil, but because the relationship no longer feels like a shared emotional space to protect. Here's the truth most men never hear. Someone who is still emotionally bonded does not mind repairing with you. Repair strengthens attachment. Avoidance weakens it. So, when repair disappears, something fundamental has shifted. If you're constantly the one initiating hard conversations, if you're the one trying to reconnect after tension, if you're the one carrying the emotional labor, that's not a communication issue. That's a misalignment issue, and asking whether she cheated won't fix that. What fixes it is clarity, calm observation, a refusal to chase validation. When you stop pleading for emotional presence and start standing in self-respect, you either create space for genuine reconnection, or you see clearly that the bond is already gone. Both outcomes are better than living in suspicion, because suspicion drains you, clarity steadies you, and a steady man makes decisions from strength, not fear. Let's talk about attraction, because this is where men get uncomfortable but powerful. Attraction is not created by surveillance. It's created by polarity and presence. When you're consumed with checking, questioning, and monitoring, your nervous system is in threat mode. She feels that even if she can't articulate it. Anxiety repels, groundedness attracts. If her behavior has shifted, the answer is not to interrogate her past actions. The answer is to assess your present dynamic. Are you still living a full life, or has your world narrowed around her reactions? Are you centered in your purpose, or emotionally orbiting her moods? Women don't detach because men ask questions. They detach because the emotional structure changes. When a man loses his internal anchor, he unconsciously asks the woman to stabilize him. That's heavy. Over time, it erodes desire. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be vulnerable. It means your identity cannot depend on her reassurance. Notice whether she respects your time. Notice whether she adjusts when you set boundaries. These are attraction indicators. A woman who is emotionally invested responds to boundaries with respect, not punishment. If she withdraws warmth when you assert yourself, that's not love, that's control or detachment. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop obsessing over whether she cheated and start focusing on how you show up, your energy changes. You become less reactive, more discerning. You speak less, but with more weight. You tolerate less ambiguity. That shift alone often reveals the truth, because people respond differently to men who are no longer chasing certainty. If she leans back in, invests, repairs, and reconnects, you'll know the bond still exists. If she doesn't, you'll know it wasn't about cheating anyway. It was about alignment. Your job is not to extract confessions. Your job is to live in a way that demands clarity. Calm, self-respecting men don't need to ask desperate questions. Their presence answers them. Another critical signal is how she talks about the future, not grand plans, but subtle assumptions. When emotional attachment is strong, a woman naturally includes you in her mental picture of what's next. She says we without thinking. She references future moments casually. When that attachment weakens, the future becomes vague or individually framed. Listen closely. Does she avoid avoid discussing plans? Does she keep options open in a way that feels non-committal? That's not always fear of commitment. Often, it's psychological preparation for detachment. The mind rehearses separation before the body acts on it. Men often misinterpret this as independence or stress. But combined with emotional distance and reduced effort, it forms a clear pattern. Psychology is about patterns, not isolated moments. One sign means little. 3 signs mean everything. Also notice how she speaks about other men, not flirtation, but comparison. When emotional loyalty fades, comparison increases. She may mention how others think, act, or feel. This isn't accidental. It's a subconscious way of recalibrating value. Again, this doesn't mean she cheated. It means her orientation has shifted, and your power lies in responding appropriately, not reactively. Appropriate response is not jealousy. It's boundaries and self-focus. When you stop competing and start evaluating, you regain leverage. You ask yourself, is this dynamic healthy for me? Am I respected here? Am I growing or shrinking? Those questions matter more than what she did when you weren't looking. Because even if she never cheated, a relationship where you feel anxious, unseen, and unsure is already costing you. And no man should stay loyal to a dynamic that erodes his sense of self. Now I want to speak directly to the part of you that fears loss. That fear keeps men stuck in analysis paralysis. You think if you just understand, just confirm, just know, you'll finally relax. But certainty doesn't create peace. Self-trust does. Ask yourself this instead. If nothing changes, can I live like this? Can I thrive while doubting my worth, questioning her interest, and monitoring her energy? If the answer is no, then the issue isn't cheating, it's self-abandonment. Women are deeply responsive to men who trust themselves, not arrogant men, grounded men who can feel discomfort without collapsing. When you stop chasing reassurance and start honoring your standards, you change the psychological field. This doesn't guarantee she stays, but it guarantees you don't lose yourself. And that's the only guarantee that matters. You are not weak for wanting connection. You are weak only when you ignore your intuition to avoid discomfort. Strength is staying present with truth, even when it threatens an attachment. The moment you stop asking the wrong question, you stop giving your power away. You stop centering your life on her potential betrayal and start centering it on your actual experience. That shift is where clarity lives, and clarity is attractive, to her or to someone else. Either way, you win.